Hi, it's Norman Koshik here from Extra Time. We're here after a match which basically didn't lead to very much other than a thumping, the true sense of the word. We have some great guests here, as in Devdutt, yet again, who's our perennial guest. And we have a lovely lady from the Virat Army. Your name is Dia?
Yes.
Okay. Nice to meet you. Just don't mind me, guys. I'm sniffling here. Dia, what we might do is when you're not talking, you might put yourself on mute because there's some background noise when you're talking. So maybe you might put yourself on mute now. Great. All right. So it's important for us to be able to understand and unpack this match. I think we talked before, didn't we, Devdutt, about the very fact that this would be a thumping, and it lived up to what we expected. In fact, probably more. Rajasthan Royals were particularly ordinary. Underwhelming score of 177 after the 20 overs. Other than Dubé and Tuatia, they didn't perform well at all. Yet again, the opening three batters did poorly. In fact, the opening four batters batted poorly. Samson, as captain, a man who scored a century in his first match of this series, underwhelmingly scored 21. Josh Bartlett was pretty poor as well. Chris Morris has not lived up to his reputation as he was expected to be. A match winner he certainly hasn't been today. But at the same time, Rajasthan Royals were poor, but at the same time, RCB were actually brilliant. Unbelievable. Actually, the bowling unit of the likes of RCB were fantastic, having taken wickets across the board. All bowlers chipped in, especially Asha Patel with the purple cap, took 3 wickets. And obviously the likes of Siraj took a further 3. He bowled particularly well. Jamieson, Richardson all played well. Even Washington Sundar bowled well. They actually had a very good bowling lineup. So it wasn't just simply Rajasthan Royals playing badly, it was RCB playing well. But then ultimately the batting. My heavens, this Padikkal, what a young sensation he was. 101 off 52 deliveries. That's pretty close to a record. I'm not sure what the record is today. Maybe you might want to help me there. What's the record for a century in IPL? Do you know?
31 balls. Chris Gale. RCB, yet again.
Yeah, let's not even compare that. Chris Gale, for God's sake, amazing player as he is. But 101 from 52 is not exactly shabby either. 6 sixes, ably supported by Virat Kohli. It's interesting to see an opening partnership where Virat Kohli is the lesser player. Rather, you don't see that very often. We have today none for 181. That is the sort of emphatic performance we needed to see from a team that is basically going to win this competition. They not only won, but they won emphatically. They thumped them. The bowling of Rajasthan Royals was poor. Shreyas Gopal was brought in because of his ability to take wickets. So the likes of Kohli didn't achieve anything. In fact, we know, quite frankly, nobody's got a wicket against their column. Pretty poor around. Chris Morris was disappointing. Can't talk very much about the Rajasthan bowling side at all. Mind you, Virat Kohli and the young apprentice Padikkal certainly performed. Is a Padikkal an apprentice now? We have to start to consider whether he's on an equal footing with some of these players. Amazing. No need to have De Villiers, no need for Maxwell to get his kid out of his bag. Nothing needed at all. I think I've said everything, haven't I, really? Devdutt.
Yeah. I mean, let's just pinch ourselves. Is this Royal Challengers Bangalore, or is it a Mumbai Indians plus Chennai Super Kings combined? This is the kind of dominant performance you would associate with either Mumbai or Delhi Capitals or I may say Chennai Super Kings. But this is Royal Challengers Bangalore, blowing oppositions out of the water. This is IPL 2021. Make no mistake about it. I said it even before. MI versus RCB could be a potential final. The first match could be the preview what we had to the final. The batting. We were just saying before the tournament, Norman. Was Padikkal going to get overwhelmed today? What an emphatic answer. Absolutely nailed everything. And Virat Kohli, let us not forget him. Under the pump, not scored a century, but he got the main man out of the equation for Rajasthan Royals. Shreyas Gopal, 4 boundaries, 2 sixes. Rajasthan Royals' supposed main threat was out. Devdutt Padikkal, sublime. I mean, Vijay Hazare Trophy, what we had, the domestic ODI competition plus the T20 competition is just a continuation. He's going to be a big name. And the race for the spots that we have in the Indian cricket team, this guy's thrown his name in it. Oh boy, selectors, be scared. Be very, very scared.
I mean, really, Padikkal demands to be in the national side, doesn't he? By the way, but he's got to be consistent, though. But otherwise, he has to be consistent. This was a magnificent performance today, but we need consistency. He needs, unfortunately, he needs quite a few more of these at this level to show that he's going to out.
He was the leading run scorer for RCB in 2020 IPL.
Right.
So if he makes
479 runs.
Yep. More than Kohli, more than De Villiers.
Yeah.
Great names to be in. So if he makes a big statement even in 2021, World T20 year, I guess he should make it. He's in too good a form to be ignored.
And I would say, Shreyas Gopal was introduced into the attack instead of Jaydev Unadkat this time, because we all know that he was kind of posing a threat to Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers. He has got them out quite a lot of times, but that didn't happen. It was like kind of a shocker when we saw Shreyas Gopal opening the, spell. But that actually backfired Rajasthan because he was hit all over the park and we were so good in our power play, 50 plus odd runs. And, that was actually when our chase was perfectly set up. And 177 was always going to be, very less on a pitch like Wankhede. This is what I feel. And although at one point Rajasthan was at 45 for 4, maybe we could have carried that momentum and maybe we would have got them out under 100 and 120. But of course, knowing the kind of surface that Wankhede is, that didn't happen. But I guess we did pretty well with our chase, knowing that AB de Villiers and Glenn Maxwell were also there lower down the order. And this is one of the highest opening partnership for RCB, that is 181. So a lot of records have been set today. So really happy with the team.
Dia, as a RCB fan, you forgot one major stat. What was that?
What is it?
6,000 runs. Virat Kohli.
Yes,
the first...
Kohli. Yes. So happy. Who can forget that? I mean, congratulations for him for, completing 6,000 runs. First batsman to ever do that. One champion of a player. Really happy.
And De Villiers didn't have a chance to break any records because he didn't have a chance to bat. So
absolutely. I will tell you what mistake our Rajasthan Royals did today. I had said in the toss, Norman, dropping Jaydev Unadkat was a major mistake. They are going by history. But history, in a way, is a very unreliable way of a situation. You got Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers out twice in 2 consecutive editions. Do you think Kohli or de Villiers or Maxwell would not have worked it out? They did. Kohli, in the way, how he tackled Gopal. If there was seam movement, you saw even in the first innings with the new ball, there was seam movement. Unadkat had exploited that brilliantly and had Delhi Capitals on the ropes. And rewind your memory back. What is Rajasthan Royals' one win credited to? Against Delhi Capitals, because they got early breakthroughs. You needed early breakthroughs. They were 50, 60 runs short on this wicket. You needed early breakthroughs, but then you left out the guy who won you the game against Delhi Capitals. This is bound to happen. Yet another feather of criticism in Sanju Samson's captaincy. I'm sorry. I might have been uber critical of him, but ever since that day he went for glory against Punjab Kings, sorry, it's been all downhill. Rajasthan Royals should have been 4-0. Because of the Rishabh Pant's misjudgment, Rajasthan Royals got away with it. But today, woeful. Absolutely woeful.
We were saying earlier on about, often the commentary is it's too early to predict. I'm afraid today has put a stamp on the fact that RCB are certainly in the top 4 and Rajasthan Royals are certainly in the bottom 4. It's as simple as that. Those two teams are positioned accordingly. We can be certain of that. Interestingly enough, CSK and obviously Delhi Capitals are both on 6 points at this point. Mumbai Indians are 4th, and unfortunately they're clear 4th. They're not. They're a game behind now, and they. Well, I'm not saying they're going to struggle. They're certainly not going to struggle, but they have to get their act together a little bit now because they're wary that the other teams are now starting to move ahead of them. Really, Sunrise Hyderabad, you'd have to think they're going to be a little bit short. They may sneak in, but they're unlikely to. And really, the rest, they're going to be very unlikely to hit anywhere. In particular, Rajasthan Royals are gone. They are going to miss, obviously, Stokes. The fact is, with Jofra Archer, I can't see him even being returned. He may not even return now. It's very unlikely. There's been no discussion about him coming back. Actually, he's recovering, but recovering and playing are two different things. Very emphatic victory indeed. Dia, who do you support? Who's your team?
RCB. I support RCB. And yeah, really happy. Like, we have been trolled all this time about, our bowling and everything. But I guess now the time maybe has come. I won't say much about the team until they won the trophy, of course. I would just say, we have found a gem of a bowler in name of Harshal Patel. I mean, his bowling, this time also he picked up 3 wickets, although he went on for runs. And our ex-RCB player, Shivam Dubey, scored a lot of runs against us, which is, of course, very hurtful to see. But I would say the way we picked up wickets, the way Siraj has been bowling, I would say the Australia series was a blessing for us. That series actually gave us so many, young, talented cricketers. And, the kind of player that Siraj has emerged, like, it's just so amazing to see him bowl, the way he picked up wickets in the power play. So, yeah, we have kind of, sorted how our bowling, how our balance is going to look like, how our bowling is settled, our batting is settled. So great signs for the team. I was not expecting, no one was actually expecting them to go 4 on 4. But this is happening. I can't believe.
But as we know, we have to continue playing this way. And there every sign is they will. Every sign is they will. But we all know that the matches that count are certainly the end, the playoffs. Now, he would argue that RCB, Delhi Capitals, and even CSK are proving certainties for the top 4. Mumbai Indians, slowly but surely, are there. Then it becomes a new ball game with the last 4 are left, and the last 4 matches. We'll then really see the rubber hit the road, and we'll see whether, in fact, that's going to be the case for RCB. You would argue that it should be. If they keep their team intact, they've got a good bowling and a batting lineup. And that's the key to it. They've got a balance going on there. They're bowling. In fact, I'm surprisingly more impressed with their bowling today than their batting. Why? Because you got to take those wickets. When you 177 as a chase on a Mumbai pitch, you should get that. But the bowling's admirably kept it to that score. They've all chipped in. Every single one of the bowlers chipped in. Chahal perhaps was a little bit less than good, but really, Kane Richardson came back into the side today and bowled well. That was a masterstroke. I think you may be looking at the bowling lineup for the rest of the tournament, barring injury for RCB.
I mean, I would replace Kane Richardson to make it more potent. I would replace Kane Richardson with Daniel Sams, simply for the fact that he offers more with the bat. You got more buffer load out of the order, and he's an excellent death bowler. Maybe death bowling might be one of the issues for RCB heading forward. You don't want them to be let off the hook like how they allowed Rajasthan Royals to. But I guess the surface of the wicket, as Dia said, it was like that. But just to rile an RCB fan off, all this is fine. Everything is great. The batting, the bowling and fielding, everything is fine. They will collapse. And whom they'll collapse against? Chennai Super Kings. Our next door rivals and obviously a lot of banter.
Yes.
CSK would certainly be the threat. And CSK seems they're knowing how to win today. And again, RCB didn't have Dan Christian on the side as well. And we know his importance to the team as far as his, Midas touch. His Midas touch as in winning. You've heard the term Midas touch, haven't you? That's a typical term that's given to someone who has this ability to win matches by his presence. That Midas touch.
Absolutely.
In 15 minutes, we've just about talked about this game. There's not much more to talk about. It's been pretty emphatic, to be honest with you. It's quite an incredible result. My only concern is the stage of the tournament. Everything says they should be a winning combination, but we know full well there's a lot of games to be played, and I want to see RCB play this way in the playoffs. They need to, and they should. They really should. I mean, I can't see them not winning, really.
I mean, it's like IPL 2016 for Royal Challengers Bangalore. I mean, they started off brilliantly. I mean, there was hardly any weakness in the side. They lost, I think, 3 or 4 games out of 14 that they played. Yeah, and in the knockouts, they were brilliant, but it took something inspirational from the opposition to beat RCB. I mean, Gale was in form. Kohli was like in Bradman's touch. AB de Villiers was great. And you had even KL Rahul performing well. Let us not forget him.
It was just, we were unlucky, I would say, that match against Hyderabad, the way it panned out. We were so good in the finals, we were reaching that target of 205, but we just couldn't. That still hurts as an RCB fan, but still much more things to look forward to. And this time, maybe this year.
Yes, but as usual, RCB will have to guard only against one thing, the dip in momentum. Delhi Capitals and Royal Challengers Bangalore always have that period wherein they suffer a dip in momentum. It happened in 2020. RCB had the keys. They were nearing the playoff door, but they decided to throw the key away and they had to frantically search for it. It needed Kolkata Knight Riders to lose only for them to seal their spot. That saw them lose momentum totally. Here, if they repeat it, they have a settled lineup now. There's no chopping and changing. It's not top heavy anymore. But if RCB once again slip into that, I'm sorry. Your wait now extends beyond 2022 also, and the whole team will change.
Yeah, it's quite an ominous sign, isn't it? I mean, before this tournament started, did anyone seriously think RCB had a chance this year? I don't think so. No. I think they were all talking about. Well, I certainly was about Delhi Capitals and Mumbai Indians. We all had to talk about. They were the two talked about heavily. CSK, well, there are some people that predicted them to be last based on the Dad's Army tag. They were looking at SRH and KKR perhaps performing. I'll tell you what, the most disappointing is certainly the Australian contingent of both Riley Meredith and Richardson. I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if they get too many more games, to be honest. I really will. Because they're out of their depth. They've got some serious work on their ability to play. They're really out of their depth.
I think they really need Punjab. I would say Punjab really needs to bring in Ravi Bishnoi on a spinning strike like Chennai Chepauk. You need a spinner like that. He was fine of the tournament last time in 2020 for Punjab. And Chris Gayle and Nicholas Pooran also haven't been in great touch. So I think that Malan can maybe come in as a replacement for them, and maybe they might find a better balance than this side, because their over dependence on KL Rahul and their lack of death bowling options is costing them, apparently, if I talk about Punjab. So this is what I feel. So they have very less chances if I talk about the overall tournament. Siddharth, you were saying something.
If I have to be very brutally harsh, I think the captain is letting down his own team.
Yeah.
Look at the strike rates with which KL Rahul is playing in.
Yeah. Right.
In a game, supposing like in Wankhede, you cannot score 67 or 55 balls. I'm sorry, that's not done. Shikhar Dhawan made almost double that number of runs, 92 or 49.
Yeah.
Strike rate is not overrated, Mr. KL Rahul.
Yes, it's not. And last time, if I talk about stats, he was the orange cap winner. But he was the first orange cap winner with the lowest strike rate. He scored some 673 something odd runs, but his strike rate was just of mere of 119 or something. So this is not something that you expect in T20Is. You need to have a strike rate of like above 150. Like you are an opener, so you need to make use of the power play. So if he's not using that, then it's going to cost his team, I would say. And Mayank Agarwal was also in a great form touch last time against Delhi, but again he also lost it this time. So not good signs for Punjab, I would say.
But Norman,
Yeah.
Jai Richardson and Riley Meredith, they were stars in the Big Bash League. So was Daniel Sams. But then, how much emphasis do you place on Big Bash League performance when they come to the IPL? Is it a good yardstick or no?
If I'm being really, really honest with you, it's dropped. It's dropped significantly. And you're saying that Meredith and Richardson played well in the BBL. Honestly, Meredith did not impress me at all. Mind you, it's on Australian wickets as well. Look, the only people that impressed me in the BBL are people like the English players. There's a number of Liam Livingstone, for example, showed his wares. You would argue that that we have a number of players that are from England that are the ones that really perform. The Australian contingent, Moses Enriquez, certainly. Dan Christian's presence, certainly. But Riley, I was shocked when I heard that. I was actually shocked when they were mentioning Meredith even being considered for the IPL. I thought, no, he's too early. And then to hear how much he was paid, somebody who's scouting for these sides is not doing their homework. They really are not. The overrated nature of Chris Morris. They said that they were talking to him about his form back in South Africa. Well, I don't know who he was playing against, but they've made some severe overrated mistakes as far as these playing. I'm honest with you. I watched the entire BBL. I saw a lot of it live. Meredith, quite nippy, quite fast, but very inaccurate. Not what I would call a typical. He may appear to be a wicket taker, but look, how could you select people for the IPL players if they haven't played the IPL? Yeah. If they have had, more importantly, they haven't even played in India. How can you judge any form of a bowler until they've performed in India? And look, they're like the old expression of a deer with it in front of the headlights. Those two had no idea what was going on. They were overawed. They bowled full tosses, a huge number of wides. That's bowling 101. If you're supposedly a good player, you don't do that. So they've been dumped. They've been given enough opportunity. They've both been dropped, not just one, but both. That's a slap in their face. And Australia should not be picking them for any World Cup because they are not ready. They need a lot more cricket before they be considered. They're not.
Punjab have kicked out rupees 22 crore in just one instance. 14 plus 8. Jai Richardson and Riley Meredith. 22 crores just kicked out.
Waste. And I would like to add to this point of Big Bash League that RCB also has gone with Joshua Phillip and Daniel Sams, all these Big Bash League stars who have been apparently. And Joshua Phillip might have performed well for his Sydney Sixers, might have been the highest run getter and good strike rate. But it's not important that the kind of pitches that that they are in Australia, they're not similar in India. So you cannot expect and you cannot pick a player on the basis of his performances in Big Bash League. So that has been the case with
Daniel Sams. You certainly can. Sams,
because he was one of the highest wicket takers, and but still you cannot expect them to repeat the same kind of performances. Same has been the case with Glenn Maxwell as well, because 2014 was the last time when he performed in IPL. And now it's his time again, I would say, touch wood. So but during all these years he hasn't delivered much. But for his team Melbourne Stars, he has done such a great job. So that has been the case. So you cannot. Australian players carry this very big image. They come into IPL as with big bucks in their hands. But we just expect a lot from them rather than expecting from our youngsters. We should give them more chances. This is what I feel like. Maybe more youngsters can be given opportunities, as I was talking about Ravi Bishnoi. So, and even Jaiswal is not getting any opportunity. I don't know why for Rajasthan. He has also done decent job for them last year. I think Jaiswal as an opener can also be tried. I don't know if he can find a place or not, but I think it's Indian Premier League. It's for the Indians to find young Indian talent. So why don't give them opportunities as well? So this is what I feel.
The reality is that the England dominance of the BBL, and we're not even talking about Alex Hales, who's amazing as well, and Jason Roy, obviously Besso. I could, and in particular, one player that I'm a bit miffed about not being selected is David Milan. He has to come in. And Matt, I'm not sure. I mean, really, their problem is about how many non-Indians they've got on the side. And they can't get that mix right. They can't get Milan in. Well, I'm afraid he's going to be first on the team sheet next time. He's the best, or supposedly the best T20 batter in the world. It's been that way for some time. He can't get a Guernsey. Something's wrong. The same was the case with Smith and Williamson. They weren't in the early games. They should have been as well. Now they are, and they're proving dividends. Williamson may have been slightly injured, but SAH missed a trick by not having Williamson in from the start, I think, in some ways, if he was available. That he's going to make a difference for SAH. SAH may sneak into the top four, but it's going to find it hard who they're going to displace. Is it going to be Mumbai Indians that's displaced? That'll be a boil over. Can you imagine?
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine RCB, CSK, and DC getting in, and then Mumbai Indians missing out?
I mean, if Mumbai Indians get dumped out, then it makes it even easier for RCB to win the title this time. Then.
Well, imagine if they get knocked out. That leaves potentially up to 3 sides that have never won the competition before, and leaving CSK as one of the only ones that will have. I mean, that could well be the case. It could be intriguing.
Absolutely. But it's very easy to figure out. 4 wins out of 4, brilliant. In 2016, it was the same. But there is one peculiar trend with Virat Kohli's captaincy, which is like, I'm kind of bordering on doomsday prediction here. Kohli and the team do very well in the league games. They top, they dominate, they do everything. But there is always that one day where they absolutely collapse, and you figure out, did they really do this? If it happens in qualifier 1 or qualifier 2, because I'm sure RCB will have a top 2 finish, so they'll have 2 chances to go through to the final. If they collapse in qualifier 2, or if they collapse in the final, I won't be surprised. It's Virat Kohli, it's his captaincy. Something about him that does not allow him to do well in the finals. It's happened in 4 consecutive ICC tournaments.
Yes.
It's happened in the IPL eliminator as well. There is something in the playoffs.
Knockouts.
Yeah, which freezes RCB totally. Hope that is not the case in 2021. Hope that is not the case. But there is one bad day coming. When is that bad day? We don't know.
Yeah, as you know, Virat Kohli himself says in press conferences that 45 minutes of bad play cost us, this game. So you are going to do well. You are going to win all the games throughout the tournament. But when it actually matters, we just choke, whether it's for India or for RCB. I hope that this time it's not the case, because the World T20 is also coming in. So we need our Indian captain as well to step up and win one IPL trophy and go in with confidence into the World Cup. So let's see how it pans out.
The reality is that you're right about the trend of RCB, but this year they've got a few different people in their camp, namely Maxwell, Dan Christian's presence. I mean, he's someone of ghost innings. And I'm just trying to recollect whether Kadich was involved before, but Kadich's presence is significant as well.
Yeah, he was there for KKR previously, I think.
Yeah, he was there KKR. He was there when KKR won, actually.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm getting at. RCB this year, I believe, have brought people into their structure who have won previous tournaments, who know how to win at the end of the season. Dan Christian, Kadich. The same goes for Delhi Capitals. They brought Ponting in, and you could argue Smith. These are the sort of inclusions that mean a lot. Punjab Kings, Rajasthan Royals lack that. CSK, yes, they've got Dhoni there. That's why they're up in the top 40 yet again. But that's what is lacking in RCB. They've got to, as you said, having Kohli do so well for many seasons in a row, but not getting across the line, I'm afraid he needs to get that monkey off his back, and it may not be he who does it. He may need people out there. Padikkal, obviously De Villiers, Maxwell, the likes of Dan Christian, the bowling inclusion of Jamison, which Mike Hesson, as the director of coaching, has put in. So that's the relationship of Mike Hesson and Simon Kadich is invaluable. What lacks in, say, the sides, Owen Morgan obviously clashes with McCullum somewhat, you'd have to argue. Dave Warner's team was a bit of a dog's breakfast of players there. Finally, they put Williamson back in, or put him in the side, but their coaching staff need to have a bit of a look at each other. Bayliss is the lead coach there and no one else. Sangakkara, lovely bloke, lovely mentor. As a coach, though, he hasn't got a coaching record, whereas Mahal Jalawardena has. Despite the fact that Sangakkara is very much an articulate man. He was chairman of the MCC and all sorts of great titling. I don't know whether he's a good coach. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, Mahela is considered to be a better tactician. I mean, Kumar Sangakkara and Mahela Jayawardene's captaincy is almost similar when they captained Sri Lanka. But I think Jayawardene is benefiting from the Mumbai Indians setup, which breeds a winning culture. With Rajasthan Royals, there's no such culture of winning. I mean, unfortunately, the 2-year suspension plus 13 years ago, they won the title. The world has changed in 13 years. The style of T20 play, the style of team selection, power, everything has changed. So, and remember, Rajasthan Royals were boosted by Pakistan players' presence. Sohail Tanveer, it was Kamran Akmal, then the Indian locals and Graham Smith, in part, and Shane Watson, the Aussie presence, obviously. So, the culture of winning, that is very important. And Jayawardene is part. I mean, look at the team, backroom stuff, even in Mumbai Indians. Zahir Khan, you've got Shane Bond. Those backroom staff at one point in time could have made a Legends 11 of Mumbai Indians alone.
That's
but
true.
with RCB, Mike Hesson, he didn't have much of an impact with Kings, with Punjab Kings. But look at the impact he's having now here with Royal Challengers Bangalore. They need stability. They got it now. Kadich, the winning mentality.
I'm more of a fan of Simon Kadich than Mike Hesson, if I'm being really honest with you. Mike Hesson is very admirable, has got a good record with New Zealand, but Kadich is the difference. Kadich is a real IPL man now. He's calm, influence over the side, and I know I've had a lot to do with Simon Kadich over the years, a lot of involvement in Australia. Now, Simon and I did some leadership courses for the Australian government together. We tag teamed, and hearing him talk about leadership, not only in cricket, he's also a leader in our AFL, our football code. He gets teams to have a winning culture through his leadership. I know what he's like across the board, forgetting cricket. His leadership is pronounced. And I knew as soon as he was involved with his team that he would be a quiet achiever, and he's done it. He'd be sitting there and he would be talking to the likes of Maxwell. In fact, De Villiers is given more of a captaincy role than we imagined over Kohli. Kohli's learnt to look around. And I mentioned earlier many times there, you may not have seen it, but look at the dugouts. That's where you see true form. Look at the histrionics of a dugout. Who's looking at who? Who's talking to who? Who's sitting next to who? That is like patent place. You're getting the true indication of the team there. And today, again, they were very smug about what they were doing. But RCB, high-fiving, there was no issue going on there at all. The likes of SRH, lots of issues. And the Punjab Kings, or more so Rajasthan Royal benches, you can see the hung heads, the disappointment. It's you talk about their social media platforms. No, look at their dugouts. Someone should do a video on dugouts throughout the whole season. Take all the snippets of dugouts, put them together, then you've got a video of quality.
Yep.
All right. Siddharth, how are we going? Oh, you're in the snow there, I can see, with your white background.
I tend to whitewash every match.
The reality is we probably do need to hear more about the backroom plays in these teams, not the glorified speeches, which are very, very important, It's great to have that insight. I do hope, I would love to see that sort of balance of what's going on. When there's frustration, let's see it. Let's see that, because it shows a team who cares. It's not all about, oh, we're all happy chappies. That's not true. We know that KKR, SRH have got their issues. And that,
I think RCB's Instagram handle and YouTube posts a lot of their practice sessions, and there was this video that actually went viral of Mike Hesson talking about the auction strategy of how they sell Steve Smith to Delhi Capitals. So this was a planned strategy that went viral, that they actually planned it because we were the one who first bid for Steve Smith, but then we just gave it away to DC. So these are the things that actually RCB posts, and yeah, we as fans would also love to see more of the insights, that what is actually happening inside the dugouts, and we all imagine that how it will be like to be there, and what the players talk about, what goes into their minds before going into the games. So I think these actually gives a lot of excitement, that what all things happen inside a dugout, what all strategies the teams plan, what is there in their mind that they go ahead before the match.
The reality is they're not showing those dugouts because they'd be exposing some pretty severe flaws and some dissension. So I reckon that's one good reason why they're not showing it. I'll tell you, it'll be heavily edited.
If RCB win the title, like how there was this brilliant series from Amazon.
The test. Yes.
Exactly. Well, that was
we need something like that, more of these.
Well, that's a real boots and all discussion about Australia. We had many frustrations we saw in that dressing room. Many. It was very much from the heart. That was actually good. I'm sorry. We're not going to see that from this IPL. The actual marketing machines won't allow that. I'm pretty sure. Don't forget, when it comes to the BCCI, they wouldn't allow this coverage at all.
No.
And they're allowing
never,
the IPL. They're allowing the IPL, but just the positive takes. Their brief is very, very, very obvious to me. Do not show any negativity. Do not show any dissension. Do not show frustration arguments. Period. Or I don't have to know with a document. I know for fact every single one is positive, positive, positive. Now, I'm sorry. Blind Freddie will tell me that that's not the case. You can't have 8 sides that are all happy chappies. No. We've got probably 3, maybe 4 that maybe are in that mode, but there are 4 that are frustrating. SRH, KKR, Punjab Kings, and the likes of Rajasthan Royals. Their dressing rooms have elements of frustration. The other 4, pretty happy at the moment.
Yeah. But if RCB win the title, then they'll do an extended docudrama. 13 years of pain, how it got eliminated. I mean,
Yes.
RCB were the subject of memes. I mean, this was a meme team. They couldn't do well in 2013 when they had so many stars, right until 2016. You lost finals to Deccan Chargers for crying out loud. The Wooden Spooners of 2008 you lost in 2009. 2010 you reached 3rd place but didn't capitalize. 2011 lost to CSK. 2012 didn't make much of an impression. 2013, 14, 15 yet again didn't make an impression. 17 lower. Wooden Spoon, 19 Wooden Spoon, 20 again. They are a good team.
Was the star year for us.
For me, RCB is a great team. Why? It gives fans a lot of pleasure to take at their expense. I mean, the pain that they experience, we feel pleasure. I don't know. There's something about RCB that's like that. And coming from CSK fans, we love RCB going down for obvious reasons. I mean, RCB, the state where they steal our water. So that's another topic altogether.
Yeah. Okay, you are a CSK fan. I thought you were an RCB fan.
I'm a cricket fan.
Yeah.
Norman knows my history. I mean,
yes, and I know each other very well. The reality is, I'm also very unbiased, despite the fact that I'm a KKR fan. I believe Delhi Capitals, and I maintain that they are still the team to beat. RCB certainly are playing well enough to command that, having not lost. But I maintain that the Delhi Capitals, something about them's telling me that they're going to come good when it counts most. At the moment, RCB are doing very well. but we have to see the finals to be sure of that. And RCB know that. They know that. And it's going to be Dan, Christian, I'll repeat, Dan, Christian, that will take 2 magnificent catches, take 3 wickets, and get sufficient runs when it counts at that stage. I've got, where's my crystal ball?
Okay.
I'm seeing Dan Christian in the final. He may not play some of these games. I don't think it matters. The most important matches, he will be there and he will stand out, not necessarily visible to us all, but visible to the RCB team. His presence at that time will be in my crystal ball. DL, have you seen previous episodes of this show?
No, I haven't.
Well, you should have. I'm not happy now that you've said that. You could have lied and said you've seen every single episode. That is not good of you. You should have said that. But I've been bringing out my crystal ball, and my crystal ball says if RCB are going to win, Dan Christian will play a role in the day. It's as simple as that. Now,
and Dia, your question whether I'm a CSK fan. If it's an RCB CSK clash, I'm a CSK fan. Otherwise, I'm a neutral.
Okay, so yeah, you must be really excited for next clash between CSK and RCB. So let's see who wins.
Yeah, I mean, I will wear a yellow jersey that day, so it's proven that they will win. So that's another. It's that day of the match.
Yeah, we'll get to know. Like both the teams are having, that 1-2 is happening, one at top and one at number 2. So it's going to be a really interesting clash. Really looking forward to it, especially Dhoni and Kohli battle. It's always great to see, student and teacher battle, as you can say. So it's always very good to see. And let's see how the team performs. Faf's form has been brilliant. The 100 that he missed out on. And, even Rituraj Gaikwad is back in form. For them, it's Rituraj. And for us, in this match, it was Devdutt Padikkal who stepped up as youngster. So it is also very good to see. And I would say, yeah, CSK, Sam Curran, the way he was hit by Pat Cummins in that match for 30 odd runs. But still, I would say Sam Curran will be a threat for us as well with his batting, with his bowling, and Ravindra Jadeja again with the bat and the ball, especially with the bat, I would say, in the death overs when he comes out and, it will be an interesting battle because we are known to be, very, lacking in our death bowling. So let's see how Ravindra Jadeja is going to, play against us. So it's a great battle to watch out for.
Sam Curran is the name to watch. Sam Curran. If CSK are going to win this tournament, it'll be Sam Curran. He's the Dan Christian of their team. He seems to have a very good winning culture. It is interesting now if you look at the table currently. Yes, RCB and CSK are 1 and 2. Well, 2 equal second with the Delhi Capitals, of course. But the strike rate is where the significance is. If you look at them, both of them are 1+, and then the strike rates, whereas the others are in the 0.4, 0.1. The rest are minus. That is going to become significant as it turns out. CSK's positioning in the top 4 will be cemented with their strike rates. Will certainly be relevant. Yeah, it is distinct, isn't it? It's very distinct. The bottom 4 teams are all on 2 points. And with the likes of RCB on 8. There is a gap starting to develop. Certainly. Starting to develop. Mumbai Indians. Now, I'm just going to check the next game. What's the next game? Let's have a look.
Punjab Kings. Punjab Kings versus Mumbai Indians.
Well, I'm expecting a similar result to today in that game. I think Mumbai Indians will have a lot of pressure on them, but they're going to do it. You don't think so?
But Norman, the last time these guys played, they had the double super over. And it was that game which changed IPL 2020 around for 2 reasons. Number 1, Rohit got injured. MI were distracted by the selection dilemma that we are facing for the tour of Australia. I mean, it was a fracas. It was a total joke what happened. Punjab Kings, from that match onwards, they got their campaign back on track. Only to be defeated by Rajasthan Royals and Chennai Super Kings, and they were dumped out. So that match, and it was almost in this similar period. Mumbai Indians had run away with the contest. They had won 4 out of 5, if I'm not mistaken. Punjab Kings were languishing, just 1 win. But that super over win, the double super, they won 4 games on the trot. So it might be repeated again, but looking at the current form and with Puran not in form, Gale being chopped and changed around, I mean, you are chopping and changing Chris Gale, who is the ultimate batsman in T20s. That's it. The story ends right there.
Yeah.
Well, I
Milan.
would add to this.
Milan. That's the player that they've got to
Of
bring into
course.
this side.
Instead of Puran,
Yeah.
get Malan. That'll be great.
And if I talk, I saw the stat where, Mohammad Shami has dismissed Hardik Pandya thrice in 11 balls. So, in 11 balls, he has dismissed him 3 times. So it's going to be a great matchup to see, especially in the death overs, because Hardik Pandya also, he hasn't turned up, the way we wanted him to be. His all-round skills is not coming according to me, and so that will be an interesting battle in the death overs to watch out for. And we know Rohit Sharma also struggles against the spin, so maybe they might introduce Murugan Ashwin, or maybe if Ravi Bishnoi comes in, so they might be introduced into the attack early on to get Rohit Sharma out, because he is in a good touch, I would say. And Surya Kumar Yadav has been a consistent performer for them, so yeah, it's going to be a tough battle again. Let's see how it goes.
But it's at Chennai Mumbai Indians, I'm saying, because Punjab Kings don't have the firepower to win at Chennai, I don't think. I mean, that's my thoughts. I just noticed as well, after that Punjab Kings Mumbai Indians game, we've got Rajasthan Royals versus KKR, but then on that double-header day, we've got CSK versus RCB. So we're going to get an early indication. It's only what, 2 days away. We're going to have a pretty big doubleheader there. They're playing that at Mumbai.
Yes.
So that's the only disappointment for CSK. And we understand what all sides are in the same boat, but CSK are not playing at home. That's going to make it that little bit more difficult for them.
Yeah.
Nor are they playing the playoffs there as well. So that's probably the biggest disadvantage for CSK. Out of all the teams, the home ground advantage for CSK is pronounced. That is where they play their best cricket. And I think that's my thoughts, at least.
I would rather not agree with that partly, because for 2 reasons. In 2018 or 2019, CSK played all their home games away. The same was true in 2015 as well.
Right.
Because of the political disruptions in Tamil Nadu, the Kaveri issue with simmered, and plus this problem with those 3 stands, those 3 horrendous stands that they've got there. They have hardly played at home since 2013, if I have to look at it. CSK have played all their home games away in Pune, in Orissa, also, if I may add, and now Mumbai. So I wouldn't say that the home ground advantage or the home ground advantage is pronounced. The team that has the maximum home ground advantage but is now dispelling that notion is actually RCB. RCB, prior to 2019, were the worst travelers. They would perform at their fortress of Chinnaswamy and they would make it to the playoffs. But in 2021, they have dispelled that. So when you dispel a particular trend, you made a statement that, yes, we are going for the title.
Okay, that's some good points. Very good points. Are we playing any games at Chinnaswamy this time around?
Yeah.
No,
but not involving RCB. Not involving RCB.
I mean, I'm particularly curious about the games that happen in Kolkata, how they play out. And then obviously Ahmedabad being the true test where the playoffs will be. All teams are on level playing fields there because no one has played any form of IPL match on those grounds. That could be a great leveler, honestly.
Yep.
That could be the ultimate leveler, because that's going to become, obviously in future IPLs, you would imagine that Ahmedabad will be a pivotal ground because of its size. When crowds come back, they're going to look at that as being the main ground, I'm assuming. Although in previous years, how they decided the actual final location, the actual absolute final, how they decided that?
Okay, so if I may, Dia, or you would want to talk about
this?
You
go.
The team that wins the final, supposing Mumbai Indians won it in 2015, Wankhede will host the opening game and the final for the next edition.
Right, that's correct. I mean,
in 2016, in 2016, Sunrisers Hyderabad won it. So the final was held in Mumbai, in Hyderabad. It was held in Hyderabad.
Right.
Mumbai won that. So the 2018 final was held in Wankhede.
So okay, but I do recall that I wasn't sure about the final. I was sure about the opening match and the opening ceremonies, which was an extravaganza. I attended the opening ceremonies, and I think I told you at Salt Lake Stadium in Kolkata that year. It was a rainy day. I'll never forget that. That was quite a spectacular opening ceremonies, which we didn't have this year, of course, which is unfortunate. But the reality
the only exceptions of the final were 2014 and 20. Wait, what was the other year?
2016.
Yeah, 2016. Because Mumbai, they were facing some issues. There were water crisis issues. There were other political issues there. So that's why the finals in 2014 and 2016. Mumbai have never played their home final ever. They've played it at neutral venues and won.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this time they chose Ahmedabad because it's neutral venue.
So with the potential of two teams coming in next year, correct?
Yeah.
That's an actual Ahmedabad team, I believe.
Yep.
Which will be intriguing how that turns out. And the other, was it Pune is the second team? I'm not sure. They what's the word? Is it Ahmedabad certainly looks like one.
There are several reports that there could be one team from Kerala and one team from Gujarat. But apparently the BCCI have said it could be a 9-team IPL. It may not be a 10-team IPL because the scheduling, the logistics, the broadcasting, everything, it will make it too long. So they are saying it may be a 9-team IPL.
Which will be an Ahmedabad / Gujarat side.
Gujarat.
Yes.
Which, I mean, you'd have to think so because the political powers to be, you've got a brand new stadium. You've got to have a team that will be aligned to that stadium. I think that's the major influencer. They're going to have to find that. They're going to have to make a way for that, to make that warranty. Although you could argue that you could keep 8 sides and Ahmedabad is the neutral finals venue. You could argue that too. That would be a fair point. They wanted to be. Please, let's not go back to the UAE. Please. I mean, I didn't have much. I know the grounds were pretty good. The conditions were great. They were well treated. All that, yes, but it wasn't. I always joked. I didn't call it an IPL. I called it a UAE PL or a Dubai PL, which was my joke.
No, I think they will not want to play outside of India at all. I mean, they tried in 2020. They had to play it because of the pandemic situation. But they will always want to play in India depending on the venues availability. Narendra Modi Stadium, as you said, neutral venue might be a good option. But then I think they may not want to tamper much with the thing. If a team wins it, they will play at the other venue. They'll play at the home venue.
There has been a little bit of talk about an English involvement and even an American involvement, but that might be more pipe dreams than reality. Let's see. All right, guys, we've had a wonderful session today. Been very nice. Although we've had a pretty emphatic thumping from RCB over Rajasthan Royals. You can't get more emphatic than Nunfa with a great opening stand. And Padikkal came of age, you would argue, today. Kohli took a back seat somewhat. I think I saw Maxwell and De Villiers snoring in the bunker. No, they both were not needed. And Dan Christian always is there. So RCB affirming as a top 4 candidate. They'd be very likely to stay in that position, the top 4, I'm saying. And it won't matter it won't ultimately matter too much if 1 to 4, where they're ordered. Somewhat, but generally not. All right, thanks for your time, dear. And also from the Barrett Army, of course, we have great representation every session. But dear, I'm expecting you to watch more of these sessions now that you haven't watched it. Naughty.
Yes, I will.
And you can also go to my channel, Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnek. I have my YouTube channel, which is actually straight after this particular broadcast. I'm on for another hour, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, depending on our guests. If we have certain guests, we're on for 3 hours. They love talking. But that's on next. So I'm expecting you to follow me as well as Siddharth. And I would like you to watch Extra Time, because Extra Time, as you know, is a substantial platform with great broadcasts and great guests like Siddharth and yourself. Oh, and of course, me. Of course. I mean, what else? Yes. All right. Thanks, guys. It's been a great session. And again, stay tuned to Extra Time with Norman Kochnek for this regular pre- and post discussion, which goes well every single time with great guests. We'll have a lot more coming. We've only, 16 out of 60. 16 out of 60. I will be dead by that stage, but that's all right. I'll survive. There'll be people propping me up just to keep talking. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your time. This is Norman Kostek from Extra Time signing off. Speak to you next day.
Thank you.
Bye, Norman. Bye.
All right.
Bye.